Hello, in this video we're going to be comparing the physical hardware size of the LG G2 Mini against some of the other devices available on the market now, or devices you may have used in the past. So let's start with the G2, the device that the G2 Mini is actually based on. So you can see that the overall size is quite a bit different. We've gone down from a 5.2 to a 4.7 inch display, which has an effect on the overall height and the width. The thickness is comparable, and as you'd expect, the weight, the G2 is the heavier of the two devices. So that's the G2. We then have the Motorola Moto G, so a slightly cheaper device than the G2 Mini, but the overall profile and size is very similar, as you can see here. The Moto G has a slightly smaller display, and you can see that the thickness there is thicker on the Moto G than the LG G2 Mini, but overall quite similar. A device that the G2 Mini is going to be competing with quite a bit is the Xperia Z1 Compact. Now this has a much smaller display at 4.3 inches, but the overall size is almost identical. That's not helped by Sony's IP rating, which needs the extra thickness. Now the G2 Mini is a little bit taller, as you can see there, and thickness wise there's not an awful lot in it between the two. The curvature of the sides on the G2 Mini makes it feel the smaller of the two devices in hand, despite the fact it's got a slightly bigger screen. We then have the very popular Samsung Galaxy S3 Mini. So this is a little bit smaller than the G2. Not surprisingly, because the difference in size of the screen, but you can see similar sort of theme in terms of the actual shape, the curvature on the sides there. The G2 Mini is comparably thick, but the S3 Mini definitely has the smaller overall feeling and weight. There's not actually a lot in it. The S3 Mini almost feels heavier. Now, for the sake of comparison, I'm going to bring in the big S4 because it's a popular handset that most people have used. So you can see it's definitely taller, but it does have a bigger screen. It's wider. Thickness, not a great deal in it. The S4 is probably the thinner of the two, but the S4 is naturally the heavier one as well. Now, it might be an older device, but we have original iPhone here, so you can get an idea. Complete difference in quality. The iPhone feels the heavier and more premium of the two devices. The thickness though is quite apparent. The shaping is obviously very different, and the overall size difference is quite clear there as well. Again, another handset which is a bit older but well recognized is the Samsung Galaxy S2. So if we put them side by side here, we can see that they're not too far apart, considering the S2 had the smaller display, but the G2 Mini is a little bit taller, a little bit wider. There's certainly more curvature, and it's also the lighter of the two devices, but we've got a similar texture on the back cover and sort of design sort of feel there on the cover. There we go. So that's just a quick hardware size comparison of the LG G2 Mini against some other smartphones.